This is an example of a missionary presentation. My hope is that you would be able to provide your PowerPoint presentation on screen together with you being shown on the video. If you are not able to do so, at least record yourself having presented on your missionary presentation while you have already submitted your PowerPoint presentation online via Canvas. This is a quick 5 to 10 minute presentation about a missionary. For this particular moment, we're going to take a brief look at C.T. Studd, who happens to be my personal favorite missionary. I have a few books here. This one right here is called No Sacrifice Too Great by Eileen Vincent. This one gives a real honest look at the life of C.T. Studd. This is one I found in a very cool store here in the city of New Orleans with C.T. Studd in Congo forests. And back when I was a seminary student, this is the book right here that drew me to his life and to really enjoy his example and to be inspired from it. It is written by Norman Grubb, who is the son-in-law of C.T. Studd, and this famous biography right here is called Cricketer and Pioneer. If we go through this presentation real quick, as you can see, just a few things that I wanted to highlight. Some of my favorite quotes that I've always loved from C.T. Studd, two of them that I have for you up here on screen. He says, "If Jesus Christ be God and died for me, then no sacrifice can be too great for me to make for him." I think that's a fantastic quote. Additionally, this one is really one that hits home for me quite often. And it says this: "Some wish to live within the sound of church or chapel bell. I desire to build a rescue mission within a yard of hell." Things that C.T. Studd is known for saying. If you just take a real brief look at his life, he was born in 1860. He really was well known. This is him right here. He was well known to be a star with regard to cricket. Some would even refer to him as the Babe Ruth of cricket in his era. He was very talented in that sport. And he had an experience of being converted to Christ. And D.L. Moody played a particular role at the beginning of his missionary pursuits, because he came and called for workers to come and go out and serve with him in China, the China Inland Mission. And it was at this particular time, you can't see it behind my face, but this talks about the Cambridge 7, because C.T. Studd became a part of a group of university students who heard the call to go and to work overseas, missions work in China by D.L. Moody, and he, together with 6 others, answered the call to go and serve over there. And it began his life of serving God overseas on mission. This is during this time when he was in China. He worked under Hudson Taylor, the China Inland Mission, and he also met Priscilla. Priscilla is the one that he married. And behind my face, you actually see the word inheritance. This is Priscilla right here. It's at this time, C.T. Studd was actually born into a family of means. They're quite wealthy. And it's at this moment when he's in China that he receives word about his inheritance. And they get married, and it is actually under Priscilla's guidance and recommendation that they actually donated almost all of C.T. Studd's inheritance to charitable works, to works of mission, and that's how they began their life together. So they spent some years in China, but finally came back from there. And it was during their times that they were in England and the USA that they helped out with the student volunteer movement, going around and preaching and inspiring and mobilizing students to go and serve on mission. This was a very important time right here within this great century of missions. You know, he was one who was part of the Cambridge 7 who went and served overseas, so of course he was leading by example, and came back during this time inspired to help others go and make disciples of all nations. Something that took place within this particular phase of his life: first of all, he had 4 daughters, and then secondly, he also moved to India and served as a pastor for a particular time. But it's during this particular era of his life that he really started to center in on the heart of Africa, because it was at this time he really began to receive a call on his life to go and to serve in Africa, and he did that until his death in 1931. And this is where so many of his stories come from. This is where, although there are many moments where he became a bit of a legend, this is really where he became legendary with regard to mission studies and all of the work and the ways in which he labored in the heart of Africa. He's quite a radical Christian, and I encourage you to dive deeper into his life if you're interested about it. And one final thing that I want to share with you is actually something that he started that didn't gain too much traction. It gained enough, and it was called the DCDs. This was a unique society that he started with regard to really wanting to have people sold out to making sure that God is being made known among all the nations. And you can Google that. You can see what DCD stands for. It actually involves, believe it or not, a curse word. So it says it stands for Don't Care a Darn. And this is C.T. Studd and his revolutionary way and radical way of approaching missions work, but he wanted to redeem that word, and also he wanted to make sure it was very clear, especially to the sleepy Christians of the West, that he did not care a darn accepting Jesus Christ and him crucified. So fascinating figure, a polarizing type of figure. But I want to close just by sharing with you guys this really important poem that has meant a lot to me, and want to share it with you today. It says, "Two little lines I heard one day, traveling along life's busy way, bringing conviction to my heart and from my mind would not depart. Only one life will soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. Only one life, yes, only one, soon will its fleeting hours be done, then in that day my Lord to meet, and stand before his judgment seat. Only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. Only one life, the still small voice gently pleads for a better choice, bidding me selfish aims to leave, and to God's holy will to cleave. Only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. Only one life, a few brief years, each with its burdens, hopes, and fears, each with its clays I must fulfill, living for self or in his will. Only one life will soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. Give me, Father, a purpose deep, in joy or sorrow, thy word to keep, faithful and true, whatever the strife, pleasing thee in my daily life. Only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. Oh, let my love with fervor burn, and from the world now let me turn, living for thee and thee alone, bringing thee pleasure on thy throne. Only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. Only one life, yes, only one. Now let me say, thy will be done. And when at last I'll hear the call, I'll know, I'll say, 'twas worth it all. Only one life will soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last." It's just a really powerful poem, a powerful life, C.T. Studd. I hope that it inspires you to go out and to live on mission, knowing that we only have one life. It'll soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. This is an example of providing a missionary presentation.